for joining us today. I'm Tasha Danner. As always, I'm joined with Josh Rush. He's the VP of Marketing at Audinate. And today our guest is Kurt Bevers. He's a systems engineer at DeltaAV Systems in Portland, Oregon. Thanks, Kurt, for joining us.
No problem.
Could you start by just telling us a little bit about you, your position, and DeltaAV Systems?
DeltaAV was formed in 1996,
Okay.
and it's been growing every year pretty much, and it's, you know, knock on wood, one of the foremost AV design and install firms in the country.
So, Kurt, what's your background? Do you come from more the AV side, or you come from the IT side?
Well, I'm an AV guy, and of course these days you have to be IT savvy.
Right.
I've been doing this stuff since I was 12 years old, so about 100 million years ago. But this is about the most exciting kind of thing that's been going on. Is we finally have practical answers to the audio networking questions. I mean,
Sure.
that's really it. Not to necessarily pander to you guys specifically, because you guys have really got the full answer to the questions. The predecessors had good operable things, but there was always a gotcha. There was always a problem.
Yeah.
There was always a channel limitation or
Yeah.
latency that was always in the way,
Right.
or some practical implementation challenge. And I really feel like my job, no matter how you look at it, my job is to deliver value to the end user.
Sure.
Right? And that's it. If I don't do anything else, if I've done that, I've done my job.
You had mentioned that you come from an AV background,
Yes.
but you these days pretty much have to do everything. So
Yeah.
where do you feel like you entered the IT world, or are you still sort of integrating yourself into the IT world now, or do you feel like you're pretty integrated on both sides?
Well, don't misunderstand me. I'm not an IT guy.
Okay.
And it's best to partner with the IT guy in any given facility or organization, because it doesn't matter what wild, wonderful ideas that we have. If they're not for it, you're in fairly deep trouble. With Audinate and several other companies that make really, really good applicable product that is appropriate for answering a lot of these questions. It's just forced us at gunpoint, more or less, to become IT savvy.
On that note, what do you think is causing the trend of so much of the AV equipment flowing into the IT departments?
Because because of that characteristic that
Right.
it is just sitting on the IT guy's lap.
Right.
You know, and they really, really, really don't want to deal with it. In principle, these guys are asked to manage so much, and just because it travels across their network, that's where the rubber hits the road.
Yeah.
You know, so that's it. I mean, you know, what we try to do is we try to present them with documentation that is clear, accurate, and concise, and that way their whole pain threshold just drops like a rock.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, the more they know.
And you know, let them know, look them straight in the eye and tell them, look, we're not here to make your life miserable.
Yeah.
We're here to enable you,
Yeah.
and this will do it, and this is why.
Sure.
You know, and that's really it.
So, when did you start using Dante? What are some of the benefits you see, and what types of jobs do you tend to recommend networked audio solutions in?
If you have a broad enough scope, that is, if you widen your eyes far enough, there's really not a system that it doesn't belong in.
Nice.
I mean, a church. Okay, church is an example. The DSP failed recently. When we looked at making this change, I suggested the upgrade that, look, for what is a fairly insignificant amount of upcharge, we can take you from where you are, and I mean, we can replace the function of these DSPs completely and enhance the capability of the system. And it was, you know, in Catholic churches, the father is sort of the decision maker there, and understandably so. He thought about it for 5 seconds and said, do it.
Obviously.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, we did an upgrade in that fellowship hall, and it is Dante enabled, and they have that capability. So you know, what we did was we just opened their eyes far enough.
Yeah.
You know, and schools are slam dunk. You know, that's
Right.
another place. I mean, you have so many needs in a school.
Right.
you know, one of the big problems that we run into is people don't want to spend their money twice for some reason. You know, and
Makes
in
sense.
schools, it's they really don't want to do that because they spend their money once every 20 years.
Right.
You know, and churches aren't that far off that. But in principle, people don't want to throw money away.
Yeah.
And if I can offer them an expandable solution that adds to the capability, then I am delivering so much value to the end user
Yeah.
Right.
that they both intrinsically see. Now they can't put their finger on it today, but they know, you know, partially because I'm a man of my word, and partially because once you mention what it is that you're doing, they start to read up on it, and they get
Right.
very, very hip to it.
I was
very
going to ask
quickly.
about that because you had mentioned, you know, sometimes it's hard to motivate people to change just in
Right.
general. So
Yeah.
have you noticed any challenges in convincing people of the benefits of upgrading to the system, or is it pretty, once they understand it, is it pretty simple?
Yeah, if they're not network savvy, it's a lot harder.
Sure.
But really, all it does is it changes how you talk to them.
Right.
You know,
Right.
They don't need to know, you know, how the car starts. They just got to know when you turn the key to hit the gas, they're going.
But it does
Right.
its thing.
You know,
Performs.
that's it.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so operationally, it's really pretty easy. And interestingly enough, I haven't been turned down once.
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
Not
That's
even
good to hear.
once.
Yeah.
So just to shift gears a little bit, I know you had a chance to get a preview of Dante Domain Manager, the new network management software we
Yes.
launched a couple months ago. What are your thoughts about the importance of tools like that when it comes to managing, you know, not just a Dante network, but just AV on the IT network in general?
Oh, well, it's a must. You know, and that's really the first thing that I've seen that makes sense to do it with.
Okay.
Yeah, anytime that you get a reasonably, even a, you know, 3 or 4 buildings involved in a facility, you start to have nightmarish management problems. There's actually a fairly large high-tech advertising firm here locally, who's a customer of mine, who had 46 huddle rooms, and they were all different.
Wow.
Because they were all built by the guy who was managing that department at the time.
Right.
Okay. And guess where the problems landed?
Sure.
The IT manager's desk.
Yeah.
And what DDM offers is the ability to sit in his IT office and actually know what's going on everywhere and
Right.
actually be able to direct it.
Yeah.
And that's fairly unique and really key.
Yeah, going back to the conversation with the IT manager as you're doing the sell-in, do you think tools like that make it easier because it's similar to what they're seeing on the rest of their IT network?
No question, no question. Because you aren't going to have, like the advertising agency, you know, their needs were pretty cut and dried. If we were talking about a school, you know, you're going to have umpty-umph classrooms, and then you're going to have 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 10 large presentation spaces. The AV demands in each is going to be very, very different.
Right.
And the ability to really drill down and know exactly what's just monitoring and knowing what's going on there is invaluable.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So if you could look into the future, year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where do you see the future of AV and IT and the integration of those two going?
Well, the IT is going to be the management hub of this whole thing. There's no question about it. It has to be.
Right.
Because when the rubber hits the road, it's going to be traveling across their network. At this point, with Audinate and a very few others involved, the audio is very well taken care of. The video has got to catch up.
Sure.
That's the next place that we really have to get it happening.
Yeah.
Now, I've in the last 2 months, I've looked at endpoints that are Dante enabled, which is the first that I've seen,
Yep.
and that is a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Nice.
Okay, and I want to see more of that because, again, you know, we're just pointing at value. Basically, the inclination of the customer, if he's not spending that money twice, would be to have that capability.
Yeah.
You know, as long as the upcharge isn't just insane.
Right.
Well, none of these endpoints is cheap. You know, so he's spending a fair amount of money in the first place. But to have a centralized AV scheme and to really have that capability would really be a wonderful thing.
Well, we appreciate you joining us today.
You bet. Happy
Thank
to do
you.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Kurt.
Really nice
Absolutely.
talking to you.
Yeah.